Coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya. This is Friday, the one-stop shop for everything lifestyle. And today, the question of the day is, as a parent, will you want to involve your child in matters internet and matters social media? We'll be talking all that later on. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Stanley Nyarungita. Catherine Simoloi is on the sign language docket. At our first story, Education CS Ezekiel Mashogu has defended the legitimacy of last year's KCSE examination results, saying that there was no cheating in the examination. Mashogu says that the allegations of exam theft are intended to destroy the good name of the Examination Council and the nation, calling out anyone who has evidence of the examination irregularities to open so as action can be taken. I am Emmanuel with more.
Education CS Ezekiel Machogu has dispelled claims that Kisii region led in the number of grade A's, as it has been portrayed by a section of Kenyans.
Saying things, even giving figures that are not so, you can now see from the figures that were being given. Are they 800 from where I come from? It's only 81.
Machogu has criticized a section of examiners who says they witnessed the same answers to some of the students of the school and that the claims are set to ruin the good name of the council.
It's just messing up the name of the country for nothing.
According to Machogu, the media, which is the watchdog, ought to have reported the cases of examination irregularities in schools, if there was any, and noting that the Ministry of Education has set up the ICT system and to beefed up the security to ensure there was no exam cheating.
That if there was cheating, we have the media with us. And I said the media is in all over every part of this country. Even at that particular time, the media should have covered that here there is cheating.
According to him, each of the examiners said a form to fill a report on any incident of theft during marking of the examination, and no one reported a case of theft.
Why didn't anybody fill the form to say, Bwana CS, me as I'm marking this exam for this school, I've noticed 1, 2, 3. And then now, people come, probably they are not examiners, they say, I marked that exam, there was this and that.
On the other hand, Kupet Branch Secretary Jacob Karura has said the allegation and confession by those examiners cannot be washed away, and that the examination body must tell the country the truth.
We may hide like the proverbial, what do we call it, hide our hands in the sand. But at the end of the day, the truth is we need to be very serious, come back to where we need to be.
The CS has asked anyone who has evidence to show the truth of allegation of theft of the examination to come forward so that the allegation can be taken instead of spreading rumors.
And I request each and every Kenyan, if you have tangible evidence that this is the case, why don't you come forward with it rather than going and just saying things that you don't understand, saying things that are not so.
Chaimba Emmanuel, TV47, Nairobi.
And Sloan Matters Education, over 20,000 primary schools have been given the green light to host the first cohort of 1.2 million grade 7 learners who are set to report to school this Monday. According to Education CS Ezekiel Mashogu, the transition from upper primary to junior secondary will, however, act as a litmus test for the Ministry of Education. This even as some parents expressed their worries on the competency-based curriculum. CBC, take a look. With just hours before the inaugural class of junior secondary join grade 7, many unanswered questions linger on the state of preparedness for schools countrywide to host the over 1.2 million strong cohort. In his address today, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Mashogu revealed that over 20,000 have been assessed and given the green light to host the learners. This against the total number of over 31,000 primary schools in the country. The CS saying that will act as a litmus test for the ministry.
We are coming up with a final one, most likely because I know parents, educationists, even my own self, I'm concerned, director and the publishers, about the number of running areas.
This, however, raising questions on the fate of the learners from the remaining 11,000 schools.
And those who have not qualified are actually very few, because our major criteria was on the enrollment the numbers that we have as they transition, and there are others few that will serve as feeder schools to those that will be offering junior secondary school.
Friday, the CS launched the distribution of the textbooks to public junior secondary schools. The counterparts in the private sector, however, will be forced to purchase from the bookshops. The
evaluation of the textbooks was carried out by the KICD in April 2022. Apart from the list of the books that have been procured by the government of Kenya, several titles have been approved for each learning area to provide a variety for the learning institutions.
This comes after last week's announcement of interim guidelines to ensure a smooth beginning of the junior secondary, where among others, the CS said each grade 7 student in a public school will receive capitation fee of 15,000 Kenyan shillings annually. However, the government's push for education reforms through the CBC has received backlash, while others have lauded it.
Kai masomo ya CBC hapo itabidi tuelezewe moja, hatuelewi kabisa. Kama mimi saa niseme kivyangu tu, labda kuna mtu anaelewa, mimi kwangu sielewi. So itabidi waite wazazi kutoka grade 4 waelezee kabisa kuhusu hii masomo ya CBC.
Na CBC inahitaji vitu mingi sana. Na hawa watoto ni wachanga sana, lakini tuwapendelea vile serikali imeenda mbele, hatuwezi legeza.
Now, meanwhile, Assistant Chief from Kakamega village in Baringo North constituency of Baringo County has been sentenced to 40 years in jail for being found guilty to have defiled a Standard 7 pupil who is aged 13 years, impregnating her and later procured an abortion to her in an undisclosed location.
47-year-old Thomas Chesang, who is also an assistant chief from Kakamega village in Baringo North, is said to have committed the offense in different times while maintaining innocence.
Section 8.3 provides that a person who commits an offense of defilement with a child between the age of 12 and 15 years is liable upon conviction to imprisonment for a term of not less than 20 years.
The area residents have condemned Thomas, saying an officer of his standing ought to defend the rights of the vulnerable.
He was the assistant chief of the area where the victim resided. He was a person in authority. The victim is a minor, is a child, who is considered a person belonging to the vulnerable group. She also suffered serious psychological effects from the ordeal that she has had to be placed in witness protection and undergo counseling.
Appearing today before Senior Magistrate Caroline Atea in Kabarnet Law Court, Thomas has been granted a jail sentence of 40 years and 2 weeks to file an appeal, if any, on the same.
The offense herein provides for a minimum sentence of 20 years. Given the circumstances and issues discussed as above, it is only just that the court hands down a deterrent sentence. The accused is therefore sentenced to serve 40 years in jail, right of appeal 14 days.
Residents have been urged to report any offense without discriminating, owing that Baringo County has witnessed an increase of defilement cases, which at many occasions goes unreported. Paul, Munio TV 47.
And the Supreme Court of Kenya has ruled that in divorce cases, each partner should leave the marriage with property equivalent to their individual contribution in the union. The court said spouses are thus not automatically entitled to half of matrimonial property upon split.
For a very long time, Kenyan courts have been struggling with the question of whether spouses should split matrimonial property equally upon divorce. The puzzle was solved today as the Supreme Court ruled that married couples are not automatically entitled to a 50-50 share of the matrimonial property in case of divorce.
Mimi upande wangu siungi mkono kwa sababu tumetafuta naye na pia nikileta alikuwa msichana. Tumekaa naye miaka 20. ataenda kutafuta nini?
A spouse must now prove their contribution of the property to enable a court to determine the percentage available to him or her at the distribution of matrimonial property, and that the test to determine the extent of contribution is one on a case-to-case basis. To that effect, spouses will only live with the property they helped raise after the dissolution of their union.
Mswada wa kusema wanawake kugawanya mali nusu-nusu, kutowanyanya hii mali nusu-nusu, nasema ni vibaya juu kuna wenye hawafanyi kazi.
However, Section 7 of the Matrimonial Property Act states that subject to Section 6.3, ownership of matrimonial property vests in the spouses according to the contribution of either spouses towards its acquisition and shall be divided between the spouse if they divorce or the marriage is otherwise dissolved. This landmark ruling has elicited mixed reactions from Kenyans, as most men now celebrate the move, saying that this will prompt partners to actively amass wealth of their own.
Naunga mkono koti. Kabisa kabisa. Sababu nimesema the bottom line is wanaume tukisema ati mambo inaenda nikioa ni 100% yote, sisi wanaume tutafinywa.
Aende tu bila alikuja. Yes.
In the case that led to this ruling, a man who was thrown out of their matrimonial property by his ex-partner has been awarded 30% share of the estate by the Supreme Court as being what he contributed while in the marriage. The Friday Supreme Court decision will, moving forward, act as the guidelines for distribution of matrimonial property between divorced spouses. Florally Muki, TV 47.
Imagine walking away with all the happy socks and everything that you just bought. Anyway, the proposal by Kenya Power and Lighting Company, KPLC, to revise electricity tariffs upwards have caused a stir in the country. Kenyans expressing concern that if approved, the new changes will further burden Kenyans and especially businessmen who rely on electricity for production. This is despite an assurance by President William Ruto at the beginning of the year to revise the tariffs downwards.
Business people express fears that they might be forced to transfer the additional production cost to consumers despite the harsh economic times witnessed in the country currently, and are calling on EPRA to reject the proposal.
Ni dhuru zaidi kwa sababu bei ya stima ikipanda inamaanisha nitatumia pesa nyingi katika production. Na wakati natumia pesa nyingi katika production inabidi nipitishe hii gharama pengine kwa mteja, ambapo pia sio rahisi sana kwa sababu vile unajua hali ya uchumi kwa sahihi. Hakuna watu wengi wako tayari kutoa pesa juu zaidi. Kwa hivyo utakuta itakachofanya ni kuwa bei ya maisha ikipanda, sisi ndio tunaumia kwa sababu faida yako sasa inabaki kwa kidogo. Sasa unabaki wewe ndio uweze kujimudu kufanya mambo mengine.
Despite the introduction of solar and petroleum energies, business people still hold that electricity is the most convenient and affordable form of energy for industrial.
I don't have any other alternative power. Ni stima pekee yake ndio nategemea. Kwa sababu ukiangalia kitu kama generator, bei ya mafuta imeenda juu. Kwa hivyo nikisema nitatumia kitu kama generator kwa kazi kama hii, itanigharimu zaidi kushinda vile stima ingenigharimu.
If the proposals are approved, required unit consumption per month under domestic lifeline tariff will be reduced from 100 to 30 units and will retail at 14 shillings per unit from the current 10 shillings per unit. Households with a consumption of over 30 units monthly will be classified under domestic large scale and will part with 21 shillings and 61 cents for 1 unit of electricity from the current 21.1 shillings. Small commercial users will also spend 8 shillings and 68 cents more to pay 21 shillings and 8 cents per unit of electricity from the current 12 shillings and 4 cents. Large-scale manufacturers such as those producing essential items like flour, sugar, soap and cooking oil will dig deeper in their pockets to pay 16 shillings and 48 cents per unit. Street lighting will also be more costly by 3 shillings and 50 cents at 11 shillings per unit from the current 7 shillings and 50 cents. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority has scheduled 6 public participation, after which a guideline will be issued on the proposed revision by KPLC. The proposals, if approved, will take effect on April 1st. This is despite the assurance by President William Ruto at the beginning of the year to ensure no further hikes in prices of electricity.
There will be no additional charges today or going into the future on electricity bills to the people of Kenya. we are conducting a whole review of tariffs of all our energy requirements.
Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47.
And there was drama in Sichirai, Kakamega County, after residents blocked a scheduled burial ceremony, demanding to know what or who killed the deceased, further pointing an accusing finger to the deceased husband. Elizabeth Atieno reports.
This was a situation in Sichirai Market, Kakamega County. A group of angry business women flocked this homestead and forcefully took the body of one of their late colleagues, Millicent Odhiambo, demanding answers as to why the husband to the deceased transferred the body from the mortuary without informing anyone.
Tumeshtuliwa asubuhi, mimi ninapokaa karibu na barabara, naona gari inapita inalia, nikasema hiyo ni gari tu inapita. Kumbe ni dada yetu Nyakisuma ameletwa. Imagine na bwana yake peke yake kwa gari. Ni nini inafanyika?
Kusema tu kweli, wanaume hata kama mtu amekusinya, utaenda mochari peke yako? Mwanamke nani anavalishanga nguo? Mwanamke akikufa nani anaoshanga? Maajabu leo mwanaume ndiye amevalisha bibi yake manguo na kumuogesha.
Shida iko wapi? Alafu tuna kitu yenye inazidi kuuma kabisa. Bwana yake anaenda peke yake mochari kuleta mwili. Sisi marafiki tuko, tumechanga, tumeomboleza pamoja. Hiyo inafanyika wapi?
Michael Odhiambo is the husband to the deceased. This portrait he is holding is the only memory he has of his wife. But according to residents, this is all a facade, claiming that he subjected his wife Millicent to domestic violence.
Najua watu wanaficha kifo cha Nyakisuma, lakini wale tuliona Nyakisuma akiwa pale Lumino, hii shingo ilikuwa imelemea hivi. Alikuwa na ngumi hapa kwa uso. Hiyo inamaanisha ninatutambua kitu yoyote.
Michael Odhiambo, however, maintains that his late wife died a natural death and his decision to privately take the body from the mortuary was to give ample time for friends to view the body before transferring it to Homa Bay County for burial.
Kulingana na kamera yetu, mwili inafaa tutoe asubuhi. Fika hata saa 3 au saa 2. Tutakala asubuhi saa 1:30. Hapo saa 2, lakini leo nitoe saa 1 bila fika kwa nyumba mapema kwa safari naenda nyumbani.
Hata kama unaishi na mwanamke amekusinya, uwezi mdhulumu style hiyo. Uwezi mdhulumu style kama hiyo. Sisi wanawake tunahitaji haki zetu. Kama unaona mwanamke amekushinda kwa nyumba, tafadhali achana na yeye, uende utafute mwingine, lakini uwezi mdharau style kama hiyo.
The residents who hijacked the funeral procession along Lurambi Navakholo Road forcefully grabbed the white casket, demanding it to be taken to the Kakamega funeral home for further investigations. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Let's get into some politics now. President William Ruto has come out guns blazing over Raila Odinga's planned Jacaranda rally, saying he could be planning to destabilize his government. Ruto has accused Raila of what he termed as fighting for selfish interests. Paul Kirobi has more.
On Friday, while President William Ruto was officiating the groundbreaking ceremony of Shaurima Affordable Housing Project, politics dominated the event. In a quick rejoinder ahead of Raila's planned protest, President William Ruto has come out gun-blazing, throwing salvos to Raila Odinga over what he termed as a process of trying to sabotage his government. The first in command says Raila under previous government failed terribly.
Hawamtabui rais. Hiyo ni doto. Waote tena na tena na tena. Doto ikiisha watakuta rais wa Kenya ni William Samoei. Unajua sasa mimi nauliza, hata wewe ukisema utabui rais na umefanya maandamano, then from there what next? Si maneno imeishia hapo?
But Rigathi Gachagua called on Raila to respect the president since he has no choice and that his plans will not be successful.
Wawache nipange hii kazi. kazi hii walishindwa. Nasikia kazi walishindwa, si ndio? Mpaka unga ikafika 230.
Politics that are likely to trickle down to the county level and causing discomfort. The second in command, Rigathi Gachagua, who has not been in good terms with Nairobi Governor Johnston Sakaja, now asking the governor to bring the opposition leaders before him for negotiations.
Ulikuwa na viongozi wote, walikuja pamoja, hata Orengo walikuwa hapo, hata Gladys Wanga, hata watu wa TBIM, wote walikuwa. Sisi Nairobi, siasa tumeachana nayo. Kubali nilete hao MCS wote wa Nairobi, wabunge wote wa Nairobi, wa UDA, wa ODM, wa Wiper, senator wetu, women rep, we come and just talk development.
Bwana Speaker, naona ungali umechanganyikiwa. Jubilee ilizama kitambo. Unaonekana huna habari. Or you are still in denial. Si Jubilee ilizama. Sasa serikali ni ya William Ruto ya UDA na Kenya Kwanza. Na tunataka kusema, governor umesema mzuri. Unataka ulete hao viongozi waongee na rais. Lakini wapite kwangu kwanza tujadiliane.
This coming just hours before Azimio leader Raila Odinga hosts another Kamukunji meeting with Azimio leaders. This, as the National Integration Commission NCIC says, Raila's last rally is creating a necessary tension that has the potential to plunge the country into chaos. They have, however, summoned Korogosho member of County Assembly Odhiambo Onyango, whom they accused of invoking ethnic hatred among Kenyans that is likely to cause violence. Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
We are developing the digital master plan and establishing a regional hub to promote the large-scale development of software for export. Those are the words of President William Ruto, who spoke earlier today after launching the data protection registration system at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC. President William Ruto made the remarks while commemorating the International Privacy Day, where he hinted at the government's plans to unveil a digital identity card, while at the same time making a pledge to construct over 100,000 kilometers of the national fiber optic network within the next 5 years. Our reporter Dennis Otino tells us more.
It is now launched, and with your permission, Your Excellency.
It was during the commemoration of the International Privacy Day at the Kenyatta International Conventional Center, KICC, where President William Ruto emphasized that his administration will pursue a regime that serves public interest.
Give them a warm clap.
President Ruto stated that the need for Kenyans to avail the national identity card before getting government services may soon be a thing of the past, as he urged Kenyans to embrace digitalism. The president hinting at the government's plans to unveil a digital identity card.
We want to enhance government services delivery by digitizing and, wherever possible, automating critical processes, and by migrating 80% of services online, as I have said. And we are developing the digital master plan and establishing a regional hub to promote the large-scale development of software for export.
President Ruto noted that the plans will be achieved by ensuring that there is sufficient information for effective and efficient delivery of services.
In order for Kenya to realize the maximum potential of the digital superhighway, we must have a clear data management regime that is rational, effective, and promotes efficiency. It has to be promotive of our agenda for the digital economy, because progressively it is now absolutely clear that the next billionaires will be on the digital economy space.
At the same time, President Ruto officially launched the data protection registration system, as he stated that the government intends to partner with stakeholders to expand space for creativity and innovation.
We are expanding the digital superhighway so that we can bring on board millions of Kenyans by making it possible for them to access internet from all corners of Kenya. They can transact with the government, they can do business, they can create, they can innovate, and they can do business on the digital space, and precisely the reason why I set up the ministry that has digital economy as one its big mandates.
The president noted that over the next 5 years, the government will construct over 100,000 kilometers of national fiber optic network.
Life, work, society, and government are all undergoing unprecedented forms and rates of change owing to connectivity, automation, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, and robotics. As a result, all sorts of new possibilities emerge every day, whilst traditional definitions of work and leisure are being challenged and redefined on a continuous basis.
Dennis Otieno, TV47, Nairobi.
In recognition of the registration of...
And from the digital world into the wonderful world of sports. And the KCB Trust team players are dominating the ongoing All-Africa Games qualifiers at the KCB Sports Club Ruaraka in their quest to book slots in the national team and represent Kenya at the All-Africa Games in Accra, Ghana. Ben Guku is currently second in the open section, garnering 5 points after 7 rounds played today, while his counterpart Joseph Matthew is third with 5 points so far. The Continental Showdown is expected to take place in August this year, and players are gearing up for tough contests Saturday and Sunday afternoon in the bids to qualify and be part of the Kenyan contingent to travel to Accra, Ghana. KCB has the highest number of representation in the ongoing qualifiers, with 6 players in the open section and 2 in the ladies category, including the highest rated female Joyce Nyaruai and Gloria Jumba.
A game strategy where sometimes if you need a draw, then you can play for a draw. For me, I think I need like 2 wins out of 4 games or 5, so I think I'll just try my best to win like 2 games. We still have 1 game today from 3 p.m. and then yeah, I'm just taking 1 game at a time. I don't really want to think much about the end result first.
I'm happy with my performance. Could have been better, but being joined first after round 6, I think is decent. I think mathematically, if I win 1 more game out of 4, I think I should be able to qualify. I'll be much more ambitious on that, not going for 1 win only. But